Boys, how you doing? I'm redoing this one. Honestly, I watched it back and I realized that my thoughts are very raw and not eloquent. So, I basically want to talk about today is why self-radicalization can destroy basically your character that you build up to be. And it stemmed upon me, and I wanted to talk about the subject because I've been going through it. I got myself too uh, distraught with a certain topic and I wasn't thinking clearly. Right, I didn't act upon it, thank God, but it still got to a point where I was like, "Man, this is feels wrong. This feels wrong," and I wanted to talk about it, right? And the main thing was my anger. I got really angry, and not frustration through a game because I'm passionate, and or me and the boys are intentionally trolling each other for fun, but it was through something that I saw, right? And it's something that I noticed within the world. People are getting radicalized. They're not thinking straightly. They're letting the anger consume them of the moment and thinking instead of thinking why and how and what is of the subject, right? Because sometimes if you remove the similarities that you and someone else have and you think of base situation, right, you can understand the case more clearly. And for me, it was my anger, is how I felt that I was being mistreated by the system. And it basically, I realized no, that's not it. And two, I realized that though it is wrong, right, and it does upset me, what does my anger do to fix the subject? And then I was like, well, it does nothing. So what can I do this desire of feeling mistreated or unjustly served or whatnot, whatever it may be? How can I do something in order to improve my situation? And can I do something to improve the situation? Who do I need to talk to? And after doing that, I found out, right? One, I prayed, right? That honestly calmed me down. I talked to the Lord and I was like, please forgive me. I'm a sinner and that this anger in my heart is not of me, right? I asked him to relinquish it from me. And, um, and that's what having faith does, right? Having a little bit of faith and being able to control your impulsive decisions, right? So it was about comparing myself to somebody else. And I've never really done that. Not into a point to get me upset. Sure, I compared myself to my boys, right? Because, I wish to be like them. I'm still hoping and praying that I grow just a bit more. Because my buddies, they're taller than me. They're all taller than me. I'm the shortest of the friend group, and I don't like it. I've always been the shortest. And my buddies are always 6 foot something or close to 6 foot, and and but I look at them and I'm like, I'm gonna try to be like you. I'm gonna try to get it back in shape, even though I have like a broken back. Um, and I'm gonna try to lift heavier and be more athletic, even though it hurts. And that iron sharpens iron, and I help them pursue their own passions and their decisions that they want to take in their career and their business, and I'm there for them in emotional needs. But other than that, back to self radicalization. It's to a point where you brew on a subject, right? And you ponder on the subject and you think so far about the subject to where it's insatiable and you can't stop thinking about it. And that's what anger can do. It taps into that emotional thing and it fires you up for some reason. And so, sure, it's valid, right? Because whenever I start comparing myself to someone that I know that's in a similar situation, but they are getting benefits, right? Even though I'm trying to do something that chase my own passion and they're not trying and they're getting something for free. And it diminishes my sacrifice that I have done for the young adulthood of my life, right? I've done something with myself. I travel the world for work. I destroyed my body and not like my body was destroyed, um, but it wasn't of my doing. It's because work. But it diminished that return of me going out there doing something semi-noble and something of myself constructively. And when I got back to the States, I realized that people are doing nothing and getting something for free anyways. I'm like, how privileged is that? Like, sure, sometimes in that situations, like if you think about the EBT cards, right? Or whatever the food is, right? My family has never been on that, right? My immediate family growing up, we've never been on that. And we've been homeless. We were, by the grace of God, given places to rest. Right? We slept in like basements. We slept like in the car. We slept in motels that some fortunate fellow said, you know, I got you, that we to this day don't even know of. And he paid a motel literally like a month for us to stay in during the winter instead of outside. And we were still going to school. Right. And I got like illy sick too. But we'd never been on EBT cards because we still believed that hard work makes a payout. And now it's harder doing through the instability of this economy and the wealth too much being at the top. And it's mainly because of the jobs aren't located in the U.S. So how can we have wealth ourselves whenever there is no wealth to be spread around locally? And contributing into that cycle, you have to know when to buy and when not to buy, and where to buy to make it be local, so the local guys have something to do instead of all going to the top of megacorps. But I keep on getting distracted. Let me go back to the original subject, right? Which is self-radicalization. Is noticing disparity between two subjects, right? Myself and somebody else, and then getting something for free, even though through I struggle, and I got angry about it because I said it was not fair. And you have over and over a time to where that tolerance, I was like, oh, it's fine, it's whatever. It wore down. And there always comes a time whenever your tolerance goes down and the primal emotion comes out. And mine was my frustration and my anger because I get being lazy. I get it. I'm somewhat of that too, but I still try doing something. I still try to make something of myself to build upon, to construct, to create. I still want to achieve something, to have a legacy. And I saw it being diminished because for those who, like me, are struggling, are getting benefits because they're just accepting handouts instead of doing something of themselves. And the more I lived around it, the more angry I got because it frustrated with me that you're just turning over and being fed like a lapdog. And so it got to a point when I was bringing in the groceries, as I had to stop what I was doing, and I literally had to I had to come clean. I was like, I had to apologize, not to them, to the Lord, because um, I was foolish, right? I did something wrong, and I shouldn't have meditated on that ill subject. And how do we avoid that, right? Seeing injustice and not letting it consume you to make yourself being self radicalized is one, taking a step back, two, making the attempt of apologizing for your misjudgment, right? Not to them, but to yourself. And three, try to construct yourself to how to go about it, right? And just because you see an injustice doesn't mean that you can't impede upon the injustice. And I will rephrase that. Just because you see injustice doesn't mean that you can't do anything about it. It's just how you go about it, right? Think about Minnesota fraud, rampant fraud, millions of dollars getting exported to other foreign countries just because they're taking advantage of the system. And now that's frustrating, right? Like all I had to do was lie. All I had to do to see something that's easier being done, and nothing will happen to me. That's really frustrating. Now, do I let it consume me where I'm going to go out there and start martyring in the streets? No. Like, what is the constructive way to go about it? You condemn it, and you get people in power who will actually do something about it. And if they don't go in power, you do it yourself. Now, I always had a dream of becoming the president. I always had a dream to go up within the political world. I just need to build a basically monetary value to basically run right to the position where I want to be, and at least let my words go out there where people can hear me and at least say, "Oh, he's smart enough to lead." Um, so it's you have to try to do something if you want to at least make that feeling of injustice to be acted upon, right? And sure that say if the EBD cards, right, and people are laying around and doing nothing and getting benefits and being having positions that where they are more benefited than the rest of the group, even though they do less, are frustrating. Yeah, but try to do something about it. But don't let it get to a point to where you start demeaning the people themselves or acting rashly on it and start to do ill, right? Do like murder, stealing, and all the other things that we shouldn't do. But change the system itself, right? We're a system built on rules, and who says the rules can't be patched or basically redone to basically destroy the loopholes of the current era, right? And that, well, one, uh, you need more of a strong arm and a strong hand, and two, a lot of anti-corruption and focusing on the stuff that if they do wrong, you can do a bigger punishment than what the crime is for, and that guides people into not doing wrong. And so when I see about it, I'm like, well, if I'm getting upset about this, what can I do to fix it? And I've already made a plan, right? I'm going to talk to certain fellows that are currently around me and basically be like, hey, this is what I see is going on, doing wrong. Is there something that we can do about this? If not, then I'm going to step in and try doing something about it. Well, because it's constructive. And though that people who are benefiting from the system don't want their benefits to be stripped away if they act rashly and animalistic and tribalistic, well, it shows their character. And it knows that, well, it validates me just a bit, just a little bit. Um, but yeah, whenever you see wrong, correct it there on the spot, or you let that rot grow. As any rot starts out small, but gets bigger and bigger. So you have to cut it at its roots. That's why a lot of old people say discipline your kids, right? And even in scripture itself is like if you hate your son, you won't discipline him. But why is that discipline important? Well, it stops the rot to grow. It stops the mold to infect, the sickness to the virus to spread. And if you discipline your kid, right, and you bring a rod through their butt or a hand, whatever it may be, right, depending on how the age, you got to go a little softer, not to actually hurt the kid, but enough to where it straightens them out so they have urgency to do right. And if you never get that, they always have that feeling of getting away. They always have that feeling of, oh, I can do this without anything going wrong. And you need to do that early before it spreads. Think of it about the gang culture, right, in America, right? And how it is being glorified. And I understand the struggle, right? My dad literally fled LA so we don't have to live that, right? And he lived in a blood like area, right? If you wore the wrong color, you die. I remember growing up hearing about my cousins dying because they wouldn't have wore a graduation outfit, or it's over a girl or something, or drugs or something, like violent gang culture, and it's glorified in the media. And I get it; it's glorified. It's different, right? But it gets to a point to where it defines you. And you think about that, it's well, it didn't radicalize them, but it infested them with an idea that they can be this and they can get power and they can get money. Right now, why did us as kids like grow up thinking that superheroes are cool and we try to act noble, or knights that are cool and we try to act noble, respectful, honorable, and we grow up to be like that. it was well is instilled in us that they are cool figures to lean upon. And whenever the figures aren't as I would say respectable and honorable, and people begin to grow up lawlessly, and they begin to spread that root, that rot, that infection. And I can go into more about it because I'm a even though I'm a half nigga, half white, brother mixed in between all that American conglomeration of whatever, right? I'm one of the biggest critics because I can see it destroy. I saw it destroy like my dad's side of the family. I saw it destroy buddies that I knew, and whenever you are in it, you understand it, and when you're out of it, you can still get it. But what are you doing to change it? Yeah. Sometimes to fix something that makes you distraught, it takes action. And sometimes that action needs to be a little bit more firm, but have discretion on how to go about it. Yeah. And I would say read more, even though you're not spiritual at all, or if you don't believe, the Bible still has a good moral compass to go about, right? Look at the Ten Commandments. That's the laws of a functioning society. And that's the same one that our Constitution was built around, right? Thank you for listening in. Thank you for listening to me yap a bit. And God bless. Hopefully this one is a little bit better than what I had before, and a little less calmer. A little less calmer. A little chill. I'm sitting down for this one. If you have something to say about this, or if something I said you don't agree with, let me know in the comments. I'll gladly discuss about my thinking process and how I go about things. All right. Explain yourself as well. I'm always open for a conversation. And I'll catch you later. God bless. Ah!